This year was the most productive the food forest has ever been, and next year I'm expecting even bigger things. That's part of the design though, part of the system. Every year I plan on doing less work and getting bigger harvests. Today I'm gonna go through, show you how everything's doing. Let's go. It's raining a little bit here, so I wanted to bring you guys through. I thought it would be fun. Here I've got an apple tree I put in this year. This is the Akani apple, looking healthy. I see that color in that bark and stuff, that's a good sign. Got some tomatoes over here, still ripe, ready to be picked. Those are the Rosa de Burns. Got a lot of small ones of those ready, all in here too. Some nice ones, some late ones. That one's passed obviously, but some good ones in here. Come out and harvest those when I want a snack. Still got a lot of tomatoes, and I'll still be getting more as long as we don't get a early frost or anything. Be getting a good amount of tomatoes in the future. And look at these grapes, they've just grown so much, and it's nice to hang out under here, especially when it's drizzling or raining. Keep dry. And behind me I'll show you the greenhouse, because it's beautiful to just look out when it's raining hard. I hang out in the greenhouse sometimes to just look out into the food forest and just enjoy it. Sit back in the morning sometimes, relax in there. And right here, the apple tree from seeds got some apples that are ripe up top there. I've already had a few, they're pretty good. And they're small, but they've got a good flavor. They're not really tart, and they're not like astringent where they leave that really chalky flavor in your mouth. So let me harvest one of them. What I do with this apple tree is, once it sets its fruit, I just prune everything but the fruit, so it doesn't take up any space or anything. I just want the fruit off of it, and produces some pretty decent apples. Again, they're just a little small, but they taste pretty good. I didn't get enough to make any jelly or jam or anything, and my fingernails are dirty because I'm always digging. I'm out here working a little bit, so yeah, good flavor, pretty sweet. I love them as just little snacks, little mini apples basically, and completely natural, so that's one of my favorite things about them. And look at that Bing cherry tree, man, looking beautiful. Put some great growth on. I'm expecting big things from that next year. As the annuals have died back, you can see how big a lot of the trees have gotten. It's just a lot of fun walking through here, especially this summer, and it will be next summer. Just with how big the trees are, it makes the space seem so much larger than it actually is. And this cherry tree looks like it's setting up real well. I'm seeing some beautiful bud sites. There's a bud site, those will all be flowers there. Should produce some good fruit for us. It's been so dry here. All the cherries have dropped their leaves and everything, and peaches are still holding strong, but it's been very dry. That's why I'm going to show you some of the kale below me. It's just growing pretty slow. Some of it's doing it right, but it's just growing a lot slower than it normally would because it's been so dry. Some of the raspberries back here have almost completely died back because it's been so dry. I didn't have the wood chips thick enough, and I didn't come back here and water. So it's just been very dry. Let me see. Yeah, it's just bone dry. So you can see what happens if you don't keep the wood chips thick enough. Man, it's bad. So I need to come back here and water this section. And actually we're getting rain, so I don't have to. I need to just let the rain come through and water it if I need to get any more to rehydrate this area and then get the wood chips down. Just a few feet away, you can see what mulch does. I've got a thick mulch down for the tomatoes, and they're doing real well. The soldaki ones. Maybe still get another harvest out of that. And the raspberries over here with the thick mulch. Again, just a few feet away, doing way better than the other ones. Looking much greener. And this cherry tree, the Mount Morenci, has also gone basically dormant. that produces for us well every year. And we've got some watermelons still hiding in here. I can see one back there. Should produce a late delicious treat, that watermelon back there. And some little tomatoes. These will produce right up to the frost. These little cherries. And this is a good late season producer. Chef's Choice Orange. And asparagus, I'm expecting big things from that next year. Should be a real good producer for us. And this peach tree did real well last year. Hoping for a good year again. And there's a watermelon gotta grab. Looks like we've got some ripe eggplants and stuff. More eggplants. Looks like some tomatoes back here. Yeah, more of the orange ones that I had just previously mentioned. These ones are actually ripe. Looks like there's about at least 5 of them ripe. Yeah, nice ones. Those will be delicious. And yeah, this is a pepper that was bad. Got a little too dry for us. And there's some ready ones that are good though. And more tomatoes that are getting ready to produce. Still got a lot of tomatoes, we'll be eating those. And this is an apricot tree. Really hoping it produces next year. If not, I'm gonna have to try to do some things or think about something, maybe taking it out, I'm not sure. But we'll see how it goes next year. I think after a few years, once the soil gets better and better, I'm gonna have patience with it, and I really believe I'm gonna get some delicious apricots from it. So I'm looking forward to that. And some more peppers ripe. These ones are yummy. Others coming. So you can produce late into the season around here. The wood chips form such an amazing insulation. And when you have kind of like a whole unit like this is a whole one basic system all together. It almost forms its own temperature in a sense, I believe. Like it insulates its whole self because it's become one ecosystem. And I really believe that. So I think that's helped how I grow everything together. Nothing's separated, everything's together. And it all supports itself. Mimicking just a natural system. A natural forest. That's why I call it a food forest. Because it really is. You know, I think people use that use that term, you know, just randomly sometimes when they're just growing some random thing small. But this actually is, in my opinion, it's mimicked after a forest. So I call it a food forest. I got more of those apples. And more raspberries ready. Sage, just so many different kinds of things. You know I love the understory of strawberries. Looks like Tuck was in here, the dog. This is what happens when I let him in here sometimes. He digs these holes. And he digs them under the tree sometimes. But I guess that's just a little temporary disturbance. And more Rosita eggplants getting ready. Probably need some water because they're forming pretty slow. And some more peppers. And a nice black king in there. Zinnias. And this is me not watering anything, guys. Doing very minimal work in here. Just creating a system. Every year I do less work, I get better harvests. But the thing is, I'm getting bigger harvests, so I got to spend more time on harvesting and processing and doing all those kinds of things. But it all works together. This, I'm expecting very big things from next year. It is loaded with catkins. It should be producing, I'm thinking, some buckets of hazelnuts for us. Super excited. And we've got the birds working for us, fertilizing. And I've also got the chickens in their pen working, building some fertilizer and build just natural, you know. And I can bring that in at some point. And the California poppies come back as the weather cools. I love having flowers in my gardens. I'll always have flowers in my gardens. Looks like Tuck dug another hole back there. That one's by the asparagus though, so I gotta keep an eye on them. I don't want that. It looks like we got a weed right here. But the weeds in the food forest are so easy to pull when you've got the wood chips. So the ground's pretty dry, you can tell. But look how easy that was to pull. Just leave it there, it'll break down. If it was something I know the chickens like chickweed, I would bring it over to the chickens and throw it in for them. And here we've got the red delicious apple. Really didn't do that well for us this year, but I've got too much upward growth. I need to prune some stuff to get some more lateral growth. I've got some big plans in the near future, not just for the food forest, but for this whole property. Some exciting stuff I'm gonna bring you guys. I can't wait for next year, so I'm real pumped, and I've got a lot of things in the works and a lot of ideas. So I encourage you guys to follow along as we progress and we grow and the food forest expands year by year, day by day. After watching the video, I'm sure you guys notice there's a lot of trees and a lot of plants packed into this small area here. But I didn't do it all just over one day or even the course of a week. This took a number of years to get all this stuff planted. I planted it by my own hand, and that's one of the most rewarding parts about it, coming out here and knowing that this is what you planted. So I want to encourage you guys to every day get out there, get something planted. Even if you can just get one thing in today, one thing tomorrow, it'll all add up over time. They're all small investments leading us to our ultimate goal. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for following along. If you enjoyed the video, share it with your friends. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. See you in the next one.